Man.
All right, we should be recording now.
I like your hair,
Um,
Sharon.
Letting Brittany in.
Did you
Okay.
I had
curl
the
it,
morning off,
Sharon?
so I could crimp.
Oh, you got the curling iron out even?
I did.
Wow.
I did. I had all morning, so
Well,
just for you,
today,
Alice.
this is all now recorded for posterity. Um, Today we have Alice Smith from the State Library with us to talk about the state survey, that nice big report that you do at the beginning of the year. Um, we're just gonna kick it off and get started. I'll let Alice take it away.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to go over this was I made a PowerPoint for the library conference, and we just there's nothing no new questions on the survey this year. So we just tried to kind of go over just basic things. And so let me just share my screen. Let's go here. Okay. That go okay? Can you see my screen? Okay. Okay, well, I don't want to just like if we need to talk about anything, we can. I'm okay with that. I don't want to just ramble off the whole time to everybody. So just interrupt me, shout at me. Let's get started here. So just a little of why we do the survey. Local libraries use it for their budgets and peer comparisons. A lot of people use the salary data. Systems can understand what's going on with their libraries. The state has information on library use in the state. Of course, one of the most important things is that we take all of this data and then I do actually put this stuff into another survey. So I have to do a survey with our data, the Federal Public Library Survey. And of course, that's what is used for politicians and funding and is very important to show the importance of libraries in the United States. So um, let's just get started here. What do we have here? Okay. So when you click on the question numbers in the survey, and this I don't have this live. I'm sorry, it's just screenshots, so I'm not going to be able to click it into anything. But uh, you can click on the question numbers while you're in the survey, and those will bring up uh, the definitions. Uh, your detailed, click on the question numbers, try to see what I have here. And then if you just hover over the questions, it will show you what we call a tooltip, which in some instances it's the same as the definition. We just put the definition and it pops up. And in other places, it's maybe something more helpful besides the definition that pops up. So but you have to just like hover over the question to get that to happen. Um, the column to the or the numbers to the right of your answer field should show last year's data. And at the top of the survey, there's a little drop down box, and you can change the year on that and look at the data that you entered from any of the years available on there. If there's a year not available, it might have been maybe a long time ago when we used a different product like the Baker and Taylor product. Um, on the main screen where you log in, there's a link to the question document, And the one that's currently there is last year, so don't get too excited about that. The login information is whatever your library used to log in last year is the same. And if you don't have that information, I can give it to you or Amy. Amy, do you have everyone's logins?
I believe so. I think I've got
Okay.
a nice binder full of it.
Oh, good. Okay. Um, oh, this is talking about the tooltip, which I've already talked to you guys about. Okay. The biggest thing with the survey that causes everyone the most grief is edit checks. And everyone has the edit checks happen to them. And so it doesn't mean you did anything wrong. The edit checks are just the survey, the Federal Public Library Survey it's made by statisticians, and there's this high level of data checks built into it. So we have those data checks built into our survey so that the data can go into the federal survey. But if there's anything that meets this criteria of different than the previous year, it will, or if you answer a question, it's the same as the previous year, or if it has a big difference, it will cause an edit check for you. And what it does is ask you to leave a note for why this has happened. So all edit checks have to be cleared before you submit the survey, and you clear an edit check by clicking on the little icon and leaving a note. When you get an edit check, the survey will ask you to write an annotation, and that is how you explain why what the problem is with your data, not problem, but it's helpful for you to give a lot of information or to write something other than this is right. But I feel like there's a lot of times where sometimes the best answer really is this is right. And there's no other way to explain things. We bought the same as last year, or we have the same as last year, just things like that. So sometimes there's just not a lot of details to be had, but if you can, try to add good descriptions. The thing about the edit checks, these little notes that you have, is that when we send the data on to the Federal Public Library Survey, those notes go with the data. So they forever stay with the data so that it will indicate in whatever anomaly or different things happened with the data, with the statistics.
Where's my hand raised thing?
Sharon has a question.
Just
there.
say it, yeah.
I use my hand raised. I'm
I
going to
won't
try to be
see it.
polite. Since these folks are new, if you come up with an answer that is wildly different than your predecessor, this is your opportunity to say why. Maybe it was miscounted last year, or maybe you have a new program, or maybe you're the new director, so you've focused on having lots and lots of children's programs and you didn't have any last year. That'll be a statistical anomaly that'll pop up and it'll go, wait, what are you doing? So that's your opportunity to say, we think this was an error last year, or we've had an opportunity to look at the numbers, or it was an actual number used last year and then we used an estimate this year, or vice versa.
Yeah, like don't be afraid to do that. That's kind of something I've mentioned before, is that if you count the number and it's way different than that number and you don't know where that number came from, don't be afraid to use your number. A lot of people will do that with their collection counts, like how many print books do you have? They'll just kind of keep along with whatever number is in there and, think that maybe it looks bad or that they're doing something wrong by making big changes. So changes are okay. Someone got any other comments about that? On this slide, you can see that this is the little note icon that you must click on and type in your note to clear an edit check.
No, move it down. It shouldn't be turned.
So you click on that little, looks like a little post-it note with a pen, I think, I don't know. And then this is the box that pops up, and in that box is where you write the explanation. And then, whoop, great. And then save it. There's a save button. Maybe I didn't catch that there. General library information. Most of this stuff is pre-filled. Important thing to note is if the population that is listed for your library looks wrong, then please let me know, because that's the population we're using for your state aid. So it's very important. If your name is wrong, we can fix that as well. The OPAC question will ask you if you're part of a shared catalog or consortium. And if you answer yes, then that will be the end of that question. And if you say no, then it will ask you another question that is what online public access catalog do you use? But if you're part of a consortium or a shared catalog, if you say yes, we'll know which one you're using. Registered users, we assume that you have maybe purged your files within the past 3 years is the standard for that.
And that's for the Seek and Find libraries. That's one of those numbers that Jason will have ready for you in like on January 3rd when you log into Koha. It'll be over on the left-hand side and it'll say, what's the number for registered users? Isn't that a 2 point something?
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so these little numbers that are on the left-hand side, Jason will have that data aligned with those numbers. He makes it super simple.
Yay, Jason. Registered users, library hours. I was just going to say that if your library is closed a significant amount of time, you can deduct that. But if you have like things like snow days and holidays and minor closings throughout the year, you don't have to really calculate that. It's just assume 52 weeks in a year to calculate it. Visits. When there are questions in here, so on the visits question, it will ask you if that is an annual count or an annual estimate. And when we say estimate, we don't mean just a random guess. So the estimate has to be based off of some time frame, like a normal week or month or something like that. If you have to just guess a random number, then it's probably better just to say you don't have the number. But if you're using an estimate based off of a typical week or month or so, that would count as an estimate. And reference questions. Reference questions do not include formal instruction or exchanges that provide assistance with a location, a schedule, how to work equipment, giving someone supplies, paper clips, a stapler, or something to do with the library policy. A reference. So when you're counting reference questions, it's a good way to think of it is something that you've had to that takes knowledge, or you've had to use information sources to get the answer to the question. If you have previously used an information source to get the answer to a question, and now you know the answer, so you don't have to continue to look it up, that will still count as a reference question. Reader's advisory questions are reference transactions. But like, where's the restroom is not a reference question, or if someone asks for help to make a photocopy, also not a reference question.
But
And then
every
that,
hold you place, if they say, I need a book, can you look up this book for me and put this on hold? That does count. So, because you're using your knowledge and you're using the technology, and you're probably doing a little bit of reader's advisory as well, helping them find the book that they want to put on hold.
yes, what Sharon said. Okay. Let's move on. So that's part one. Staff and salary. Don't report one staff member more than once, even if they perform multiple jobs. Don't report contract work here, like cleaning and landscape business. They have to be on your payroll. And basically, it's total librarian hours for all librarians with and without a degree. So that would be the 3-1. And then in the next one where it says ALA MLS hours, that is basically of the hours above, how many hours were worked by someone that holds an MLS. And then all other paid employees. And let's see, is that clear, Sharon?
Sort of. Talk to me about it. There's a way to do it by math too. So, if it's a 40-hour week, if you only work 20 hours a week, you're 0.5, and you can do that. You can like use the decimals to divide that up if you need to. But yeah, we can help with that.
Yeah, and because the system does that, like the total part, the system does the calculation. So, I mean, you should be good putting it in, and then it will calculate it. So, yeah, so if you put in 10 hours, it will do the FTE calculation for you.
It'll math.
And the math, it does the math. You don't have to do the math.
I have to do it for this. Okay, never mind.
Librarians, we're not good at math. When you list the salary, when you list your salaries, start with the director or the head of the library, and then list all the positions. Don't put anyone's names. Some people will put a range. If you have like 5 different clerks and they get paid different amounts, you can use a range. And you're also supposed to include unfilled positions. Budget. Okay. The budgets, if you don't know where to get your budget, it's Sharon, what do you tell people to do? State of Kansas municipal accounts and reports. That's if you Google that, you can get to the state website and can usually find your budget there.
Okay, well, by your budget, she means your city's budget or your township's budget.
Yes.
Your internal budget is the one that you have to provide us for allocation. So you should already have your internal budget, but your taxing authority's budget, so your city or your township or your
Okay.
library district, you can get that online, and that'll show you what your mill levy is. So for this information, for these questions that are coming up that are going to ask about your mill levy rate, that's your budget and their budget if you've gone through my budget training. So again, we can help you not just find it, but interpret it. Okay, I'm done.
Okay, yeah, thanks. It's kind of different. And I do realize when I said my budget, that's your municipal budget. Yeah, and there should be a folder on there that is the 25 budgets because they'll be adding 25 budgets to that website. And of course, we'll be using the 24 is what you'll be looking at. Because wait, I'm sorry.
You mean
26.
26 and 25.
Yes, sorry. 26, 25. All right. Budget, mill levy rate, library fund, and employee benefits fund. So it'll ask you the amounts for both of those and the mill levy rates. And if you have an employee benefits fund, you know it. So types of revenue, local government. So that's just from your city, township, municipality. Then there's state funds. If you have, for some reason, received some kind of grant from the state of Kansas, that would go in the state funds line. And actually, we use, so the state funds, there's two state lines on the survey. Oh, the next one. One is just a line for your state aid, and then one is a line for state funds. So we will pre-fill in your state aid. And actually, this year we have used state money for notable books grants, and in previous years we have pre-filled in the federal fund line with the amount of your notable books grant. And now this year we'll be pre-filling in the state fund line with the amount of a notable books grant if you received one. And so if you did get a state grant from the state of Kansas, you can change that amount that's in there. We'll just have the number for notable books pre-filled, and then you can add them together and do that. I don't know if anyone in your system got state grants this year, Sharon. I know Department of Commerce did a lot of grants, so.
Yeah, so anybody that got a Teffy Seed grant, community development block grants, I got two libraries that got those. So yeah, so if that money was received and spent in 2025, it needs to be recorded. And then for any of our libraries who your community has part of your budget is electric fund, or part of your budget is proceeds from something that's not tax levied money, but it's still coming from your community, from your city. You need to be aware of that, and that you have an opportunity to share that information on this report.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
No.
Our city, I believe they reimburse us for part of our internet connection because we had some arrangement. I'll have to look at the exact paperwork. We had some arrangement where we helped the city offices pay to upgrade all of their stuff when we switched to Ideatech. So they're reimbursing us every month, and it goes towards our Ideatech bill. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So is that where I record that?
I don't know if that would count as income. It's more of a
Okay.
reduction of an expense.
Okay.
So,
But I mean, it's coming in as income in their budget.
is it though? Or
It's
you?
not.
Oh,
The city, I don't know how it's arranged, but when we get our invoice, it's like already paid partially. Does that
oh, okay.
does that make sense?
Yeah, it's more
Yeah,
like E-rate. It's
Yes,
an
yes, that
E-rate
is the right word
reimbursement.
for it.
yeah.
So that's not the same thing though.
No, some of
No.
our libraries actually, like in Iola, the city has an electric company, and so Savenberg has this. So they, they get a tiny little bit of tax money, but then they get $2,000 from this electric fund.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. Let's move on to capital funds. I don't know, Sharon, do all your libraries have capital
No,
improvement
I
funds
think they
or?
all should, but no, not everybody has a capital improvement fund. Um, if you do, and if you've put money into it or you've used it to, purchase something or spent money out of it, this is where you'll get to talk about that.
So, yeah, so it'll ask you if you have one, and usually people have passed a resolution at some point, and a lot of libraries have passed it so long ago that the person that's working there really has no recollection of it, which of course it doesn't hurt to run a new one through. So the revenue will be any money you take into that. So if you had money from your state that you put like in a building fund, or that would probably be one of the only things you would do, or state government capital revenue. I don't think there are any state grants that allow for you to put them in a capital improvement fund, and there also are not currently any federal government capital revenue opportunities. So basically, most everything will go in under or other capital revenue. And then if you spend anything out of it, then include that. And spending out of capital funding is, I'll just read from this. For site acquisition, new buildings, furnishing equipment, initial collections for new buildings, additions, renovations, um, vehicles, major one-time projects, exclude revenue used for replacement and repair of existing furnishings and equipment, regular operating expenses, library materials, investments. So not your everyday expenses. Okay. Expenditures. Expenditures. Um, if your library doesn't spend something in a category, you can put 0 on that. If you don't know the amount, there's always usually an NA question or a box that you can click for that if you don't know the answer. Expenditures is actual money you spent, so don't um, don't guess at things, and you wouldn't use like the value of free items. So you wouldn't add that if you had donated books, you wouldn't put the value and add that to your print expenditures. Um, Staff, a lot of people really get confused about the employee benefits expenditures. People tend to think of that as we have so many part-time librarians, and um, most or a lot don't receive like paid days off or really any great benefits as we like to think of them, but actually on this line, you would include the library's portion of Social Security, retirement insurance, life insurance, work comp, unemployment, those types of things. So those should be separate from your wages and placed on a different line. And that is something that is often confused. Let's see. Print books, periodicals, if you're still buying print magazines, print materials, expenditures on electronic materials, then basically any other physical items for your collection that you didn't include above, put the amount on that line, and then anything else you spent for your library, the whole rest of the money you spent that you didn't include on these above lines, then you would put that on 8.12. And is there any thoughts or questions on those?
Work with your treasurer. If your treasurer's the one that's done this before, if your treasurer was around last year or the year before, lean on them.
I have a
Technically,
question.
this report is their duty. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, if they're doing their job, they should know the answers.
Yeah.
I think Ellen has a pretty good handle on this, but is this video, I know we're recording it, is it something I can show her in case she has any questions as well, just as a refresher? Fabulous. Thank you.
Okay, so the resources section, this is the one where I was thinking I've kind of heard a lot from people. So the books owned at the beginning of the year, we take your ending count from last year and then we pre-fill that into that line, and then you're able to add a number of how many books you added and then how many books you weeded to get, and then it will auto calculate your number for you. We're just doing that, added those questions to kind of help you get to your number, but you are able to manipulate that book's owned number if that's one of the things that people have felt like they have to leave, even though they know it's wrong. So if you know what your number should be, you can manipulate that 9.1A to have an accurate total on 9.1D, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yes. And that's not magazines. Magazines go down in other circulating collection. At least that's how I
Yes.
would understand it. Yeah. The books are actually books.
Books are books. So print books, yep. Then audio, physical, video, and then anything else. Okay. Move ahead and physical items. And
Are you
of
counting?
course, yeah. What?
Others are also like your library things,
Yes, that's
and
what I was going to say.
hotspots. Yeah.
Other physical items. It's your, I don't know, why do we always use cake pans as an example? Cake pans,
Because of
tools,
Osage
musical,
City.
musical
yeah.
instruments, units, items packaged together. Is one unit, set of cookie cutters, one unit. So, okay.
Kevin, the Carnegie Grant's going to be received in 2026, so that'll be on next year's. This is all just 2025. So January 1st of this year to December 31st of this year.
We could hardly wait.
Yeah.
Okay. Resources, electronic. So this question is where we used to ask how many ebooks or e-audiobooks your library has available to them. And what we figured out was happening nationwide was that ev so many people were using ebooks and e-content as in consortiums. And so they, when we were collecting those numbers, we were just duplicating and it was inaccurate. So the count of ebooks is now gone. We don't ask how many ebooks are available, but instead we ask, do you buy um, ebooks, e-audio, e-video? We'll ask for each item. Does your library buy it on its own? Does your library buy it through a consortium? Or and then the third question is, does the state provide it for you? And the ones that about is it provided by the state? Those are pre-filled into the survey. So you just have to know, do you buy it yourself all on your own and do you buy it as part of a consortium for each of those items?
A few of my libraries do belong to Sunflower eLibrary. So do you, Alice, work with the Sunflower eLibrary Consortium to get those numbers?
Um, yes. And we had a lot of problems last year with the nuts in the circulation when we get those, but we should get the sunflower numbers provided to us, and then we will pre-fill those in your survey.
Okay. Online learning platforms, is that I think one of my public libraries uses Canopy, and that's not really a learning platform. It's more of I guess it's e-videos. And I think it's a subscription. I don't know that you buy content for it. You're more interested in purchasing actual titles?
No, online learning platforms not Canopy. Is that hobby one? What's the hobby one? No.
Yeah, I don't know the hobby one. Canopy is like foreign films.
Oh. Yeah, that would be it's just entertainment, not learning.
Technically.
Yeah, that would probably if they buy that would be like go under research databases, just like a database.
That you purchased.
But I might have to check.
Okay. I think it's Coffeeville.
What's the hobby one I was thinking of?
I don't know.
There's like a hobby platform where there's videos on like how to crochet. But like online learning platforms provide instruction tools, resources, skill building, homework assistance, language learning, test prep, professional development, hobby instruction.
There you go. Okay.
I'll think of it in the middle of the night. Okay. So it looks like a lot, and we've tried to make it it wasn't very understandable last year, even though it's just questions, and I've tried to improve it this year, so I'm hoping it will be easier. Okay.
Thank you.
Public computer usage. Same old thing. Sessions. Website visits. Annual estimate, not wild guesses. Does your library provide Wi-Fi access? And then reporting. Do you circulate Wi-Fi hotspots? And then yeah, so I don't know, Sharon, what level you provide help with these with Wi-Fi and
yeah, Dave Blakesley can help you with the wireless, because we can dig into your router and get some numbers if you don't already know how to do that, and gather that number every month. I would think with our doc grant, everybody should answer yes to 10.6 because that's what the grant provides is computer and technology training for your patrons. So everybody can answer yes to that one. And then for the computer uses, if you are a LibKey, if you use the LibKey computer management, you have access to those numbers. Otherwise, if you have like a check-in sheet or however you keep track of how many people are coming in and using your computers, share that number. But yeah, tech can help.
Tech can help.
I should text him and give him a heads up.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Circulation. Let's see. Circulation should only be counted for items checked out of the library's collection for use outside of the library. Do not count in-use computer use as circulation. So I know some people will check out computers and that would not count as circulation. Do not count automatic renewals as circulation. Renewals, just not automatic renewals. So we've got
Wait,
adult.
we can't count auto renewals? It's a checkout.
How do we know the difference then?
Yeah, we don't.
Well, you don't really.
I don't even know that we have it turned on, but
Well, you just count your checkouts, just whatever,
Yeah.
whatever your checkouts say your checkouts are.
again,
If-
Jason
if-
will figure it out for us.
Yeah, if there was something where it was different than an extra number that said automatic renewals, then leave that out. But just whatever your checkouts say they are, that's what goes there. But it will ask you, did you offer automatic renewal? That's a federal question. Okay, and then it's just basically, your adult print and your child print, then you kind of come down to your other physical items and dump all that extra circulation there. What are we leaving out? Nothing? Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say if I asked Jason about auto renewals, but the rest of those numbers come directly from him. If you're in the Seek and Find
Yeah, sorry if I confused you on that, but I was just reading it. You don't have to do math. Whatever you have for CERC is your CERC. So, interlibrary loan. This section is going to look slightly different this year because we are adding a few new columns that will ask you how many borrows and borrowing and lending, how many you did through ShareIt and KickNet, and then how many you did through your shared catalog. And if you use OCLC to do so, there will be a column for that. And then if there's maybe someone did something through email or some other thing that I am not aware of, there's a blank for that. And then it will auto sum to tell you your total borrows and loans. Sharon, is that going to be okay?
Yeah, I mean, if anybody reached out to Brenda during the year to get help with an OCLC interlibrary loan request, which means out of state. She'll have that information. Jason will keep track of the shared catalog numbers, and Brenda Cash can also help you with your share at KickNet, because those statistics are available in the software, correct, Alice?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
I thought.
and you can run reports in the software, and they are fine and accurate.
Okay.
Previously, people have said that they aren't, but they are.
Yay.
Yeah, and we're even looking into, I know, like that borrowing requests that go unfilled. There's a chance we may pre-fill that one. So, and anyway, so I know it's going to look different, but I feel like everybody has those numbers anyway. They've just been adding them up and putting them on the line. So hopefully that won't throw anyone off. Programs. The first thing we ask in the program section is what did you do self-directed activities? And we think of those as passive programs, grab and go type things, craft bags, etc., kits, things like that. So while technically those are not, they don't meet the federal official definition of a program. So we have to count those as a separate item from actual programming. So self-directed activities starts it out, and then we ask about recorded programs. So a program that was recorded and placed online, and then the views of that program at 30 days is how we ask people to track the usage of recorded programs. This section is going to look a little different this year. I've tried to make it look a little better or be actually a little more understandable, but it's the same thing. We're asking about programs for each of those age groups, and we're basically asking for in-person programs at the library. We're asking if you had anything off-site and attendance at that, and did you live stream any programs? If you had a program that was in person and also live streamed, we do ask that you only choose one, because it was actually only one program. So count it on whichever one you want. But some people may have just live stream programs that didn't have an in-person component. But if it has both, just choose one. And the attendance at those. If you have a storytime program and you have 6 kids and 7 adults, then the attendance at that program is 13. You do count everyone that attends your program, and you don't have to look at what their age is, which is, I used to count all of my programs wrong. I always felt like I was like adding people on by counting adults that attended the kids programs. I was confused about it early on. So, and if you just pick whatever age group is your most intended age group. So, and then only put your program, only count it once for one age group. You just have to pick what the best one is and then go with it. So, what else? Any questions about programs?
If you don't already keep track of this every month, I recommend that you do, and I've got a spreadsheet that I can share.
Oh, yay. Oh, there is a question on here. If you did the Kansas Reads to Preschoolers program. So if you had a special Kansas Reads to Preschoolers program, it will ask you how many you had, and how many people attended. So we just are tracking that.
Can we count it if the school asked us to come to their?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you participate and you're representing the library, it's a library program. You're just kind of a co-sponsor. So to Kevin's question in the chat, yes. Doesn't matter if you organized it, did you participate in it? So yeah, so some of you will have that, my one event, I had 600 people. Well, yeah, because that's how many people came and stopped by and got trunk or treat or cookies or books or whatever. So those are interactions.
So let's see. Social media things, interactions don't count as programming. So, let's see. I think that's about it. State aid evaluation. This one, it should pre-fill the amount of your state aid. And this isn't actually also a question that we have a lot of problems with, is that the amount of your state aid will be pre-filled into 12.1 and also will be rounded. And then when you put the amounts for how you spent your money, the total that you come up with needs to equal the amount you received in state aid. So that will really trigger some edit checks for people if their total of what they spent doesn't match the state aid received. And so if you have to add $1 to something, just do it. It's not like we're not doing an audit of your money. We're just looking at what you spent it on. Just make sure that those match. And also at the last minute, we have added a few more categories. We did have salaries, books, and then if you did buy books, how many, which I really think is kind of a joke because, you can't buy very many books with state aid money these days. And if you spend it on other, so we're going to put a few more categories in there to help people. Just like I can't remember, like programming is going to be a category, and maybe supplies and something else, and then we'll still have other. So, and also that weird little question about state aid requested is going to be gone. We're eliminating that. So
Really?
it
For this coming up year? So in
Yep,
January, that's
it's
going to be
gone.
gone?
Yeah. Ray decided we didn't need it anymore.
Oh, too bad. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. It was just very confusing too. People just didn't really understand the question. So I'm happy to have it gone. And okay. Sometimes we'll find at the end of the survey, I'll find that there's people that think they submitted their survey and didn't, because they hit submit lock on the survey and then they had edit checks. So hitting the actual submit button won't actually submit your survey if you have edit checks that come up. Those have to be cleared by adding notes before it will actually submit. And so that button, the verify button, is one way to click the verify button, and then it will show you which questions need notes on them. And then once you think you've added all of those, you can hit the verify again or whatever. Or you can also just hit submit and see if it goes. Same thing. One thing about the verify button, when you hit that, and it will, if you have edit checks, they'll show across the top of your screen. They're clickable. So if you click on, it'll say like, this question, has a problem. If you click on that, it'll take you to the question in your survey, and then you could click on the little notepad icon and leave your note. So that's a helpful thing. And another helpful thing is if you don't click on it and you're just scrolling down to it, it's very important that you look at where the edit check is at the top of the screen. It'll have the number of the question, and then where you're putting your note needs to match up with the number of the question that's showing the edit check. So a lot of people will just put their note on the wrong question, and then their edit check won't clear. And that's a lot of the phone calls we get. So once you've submitted, it's locked, but I can unlock it. Amy can unlock it. Sharon can unlock it if you need to change something. You'll get an email when you submit it. It'll have the little infographic with your usage, and I think a little pamphlet comes as a clickable link as well. So,
Alice, can you go back 2 slides? That one. So the Kansas SIPA every 3 years and the Civil Rights Certificate, those are just some attestations, I guess, you have to make that say that, yes, you and your board have looked at your Kansas Children's Internet Protection Act policy and have reviewed it. And that, that's part of allocation as well. And same with the Civil Rights Certificate. Has to, well, tell me more
yeah,
about that one.
the difference with those is that, I mean, the civil rights, you're just saying yes, to that one, attesting to it. And then the SIPA one has a date on there. It shows the date, and it will pre-fill in the date that was on your survey last year. So if you changed it or updated it last year, then it will have that new date, but the date needs to be within 3 years. So you might want to take a look at it. We were doing a pretty good job of calling people that were out of compliance for that, but we've had some staff changes, so it could be that some people haven't are outside of their 3 years. So check that. What else about survey, Sharon? We leave anything out?
It'll take more time than you think it's gonna. At least the first year. And then be kind to your future self. And if you've found the source of a number, write it down. So have a document open. It has the hyperlinks to the websites that you go to, the hyperlink to get into your router to get that number, the who you talk to at the city to get whatever numbers. Don't assume you're going to remember where you got that data when you have to do this again next year, because you're not. Again, I recommend monthly statistics, because then December comes and guess what? You're ready to do your report because you've already been keeping track of everything month after month after month and sharing it with your board. So yeah.
Yeah, library board reports are the worst, and
statistics make it easier.
Yeah, it's a bother to do them every month, but boy, when you get to the end of the year, it's sure glad you did those every month. So, and along with that, the other thing, I guess, just maybe one other thing I should mention is, of course, we don't track everything. We're trying to reduce the burden as much as we can on what you have to provide to us, and also be able to have the data that the federal IMLS is asking for. So, there's things, like I said, like when I talked about like social media interactions and a lot of other things that, maybe don't fit the criteria and that we don't keep track of, but on your monthly board reports, you can certainly, report those and track those internally. So,
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, do try to be accurate because we do use this for peer comparisons. This is the data that you guys have sometimes pulled to get your mill levy increased, to get your hours improved, to get, this is some powerful data. So try to be as accurate as you can be. And, if this first year you have to do more estimating than you like, start keeping track in 2026 so that you have good data that you trust in the following year. So, tracking programs. Yes. Okay. I will take our 2025 one and clean it up for 2026 and share that out with everybody. So, and it's on Google and it's got lots of tabs. There's a tab for all ages, a tab for adults, a tab for
does it
0
kind
to
of match
5.
up, Sharon, with
Yeah.
these categories?
Yeah. No, I don't do monthly statistical reports unless they feed into this report. That's how I count things.
I might send you, I was just saying I changed the questions, I've changed the format a little bit. I might send you a screenshot of how it looks now, so that in case you want to,
Yeah, we can prep it.
yeah, just to make sure yours maybe it lays out like that or whatever.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
But of course, you can email me, call any of us.
Bother.
We're happy to help.
Yeah, I like statistics. This is my thing. So I have lots of spreadsheets.
Were there any other questions for today before we let Alice off the hook here? Okay.
Well, yeah, and if you think of something before the survey, as you're preparing.
Yeah. I would advise everybody to log in at least once this month to make sure you can get into it. And then if you do need to do some estimating, you've got December.
Yeah, you can log in. You can log in anytime throughout the year too. I should have said that. Your survey, when you hit submit, it locks and you can't go back in and change anything, but you can access that Counting Opinions website anytime throughout the year and look at your data.
Okay.
Everyone wants your spreadsheet.
Okay, but I'm trying to find Kansas State statistical. So here, I'm gonna put this in the chat. This is the kansascountingopinions.com in case you don't have that. And then Alice, where on the state website is that? Isn't there like an information page for the state report?
Yeah, there should be under
Library,
librarians.
public library survey. Okay, so here is a page that has data
Librarians.
and information.
Let me see what's on here.
Yeah, what's on your
There.
page, Alice?
Let me check this out. And it is February 5th is going to be the due date. That's
important.
Yeah, it's the same as last year. So just keeping it the same. And I know it's a short amount of time, but we are supposed to send our state aid out on the 15th. So that gives us just a little window to get all the delinquent surveys.
Yeah. And we'll be keeping track. So you'll hear from Amy or Carol or me if it's getting close to that date and we haven't seen any activity on your on
Mhm.
your sheet. Looking. Let's do, yeah. So, we mentioned this before, but in the statutes, it says that an annual report shall be made to the state library. That's what this is. So this is a report of every public library sharing with the state what kind of services you've offered, how much money have you raised, how have you spent that money. You know, this is due diligence and transparency. And also it's the law. So you got to do it. That's why it's tied to state aid. You don't do this report, you don't get state aid. You don't get state aid, you don't get allocation. So incentive.
Love it.
Well, we will send this out, the recording, to everybody, and then we might have some additional questions that come as people watch the recording. So
Hey Sharon, I had a question. And I don't know if we need to kind of go off on this one, but we didn't qualify for state aid.
right, that had to do with you didn't raise as much money the year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yours was financial. I would still recommend that you do the report.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was planning to, but I just wasn't sure, as far as
Yeah.
what, next steps was for that one.
Well, and are you anticipating that you're not going to receive it again this year?
I don't know as far as waivers what we are able to do.
Okay.
Mhm.
Alice Lou is at Pleasanton District Library. So. Okay.
We'll look for that or watch for that and let you know.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, if there are no more questions for today, we will go ahead and wrap this up. And like Sharon said, we will get this recording out to you as soon as it's available. All right. Thank you, Alice, for joining
Yeah,
us today.
sure. Bye, everyone.